We've learned that I says I if one of the next two letters is another vowel. Otherwise, it says I. We've learned that IGH says I. We've learned that Y at the end of short words says I. We've learned that I in the middle syllable says I. And we've learned that TI says sh and CI says sh. So fun. So let's practice all of these spelling rules together. Here you are over here. Here we are. Okay, so let's do the first one together. We have a digraph blend here. A digraph and then blended with an R, and then Y at the end of a short word says I. So these sounds are sh, I, shry. That is not an easy sound, an easy word to say because of this R. It's difficult to form the R after an SH, but you must force it. You can, if you know what shape your mouth should be in, then the sounds will come out correct. If your mouth is shaped correctly, the sound will be correct. Shry, shry, kind of like the beginning of shrine, but without the N. All right, go ahead and try yours over here. C is always going to say k until I tell you different. I'll teach you when it doesn't say k. Go ahead. Okay, so this Y is going to say I because Y is at the end of short words. Always say I. And don't you love always rules? I love it when we get an always rule. Y at the end of short words always says I. And our C says k most of the time. So our sounds are k, l, I, cly, cly. Okay, number 2. So here we have an I because the next two letters are consonants. And here we have an IGH that we are training our brain to recognize as a unit. This I is making the long sound and the GH is silent. And you will see IGH just as an aside. Usually it's going to be in words that, short words that end with a T, but once in a while you will see IGH just hanging out there at the end, like sigh and thigh. It'll never be at the beginning though. Usually the middle, once in a while, the end. So our sounds are p, r, I, n, I. Prinai, prinai, prinai. Now just for fun, what would that word have said with only one N in it? Yep, now it would have said prinai if it had only one N, prinai. But there's two N's, so it says prinai. Go ahead and try yours over here. Okay, this I is going to say I because of the tap 2 rule. There's two consonants after it. And when you see a double consonant like that, it's kind of like just a quick hack. It's a quick subconscious trigger that vowel before it's going to say its short sound. I mean, it does anyway because there's two consonants, but it's an even faster way of knowing that vowel before is going to make its short sound if you can recognize the double letter right there. And then this IGH says I. So our sounds are d, I, b, I. Dribi, dribi, dribi. What would it say with only one B? Then it would say dry by, dry by. But there's two, so it says I, dribi. Okay, number 3. Here we have a 3-letter blend. This I is going to say I because of the tap 2 rule. This I is going to say I because it's in the middle syllable. You can tell that because there are 3 vowels that don't touch. When there is a word with at least 3 vowels in it that don't touch, that's a 3-syllable word. And when I is that middle one, or a middle one, it can be 4 or longer, but as long as it's in the middle, then that I gets to say I, regardless of how many consonants are after it. And then this I also says I for the tap 2 rule. So our sounds are s, t, I, p, d, m. Let's take it one sound at a time. We have st, stir, stry, stripe, striped, 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 stripedum, stripedum. All right, let's try yours over here. Go ahead, I'll be quiet while you work. So this I is going to say I because of the tap 2 rule. There's a vowel 1 or 2 doors down. I in the middle syllable says I. You can tell it's in the middle syllable because there's a vowel before it that doesn't touch it and a vowel after it that doesn't touch it. And then this I at the end says I because there's not a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. So our sounds are I, b, I, p, I, m. Pushing those sounds together. Thrive, thribe, thribe, thribip, thribipe, thribipim, thribipim. Now, a lot of people are a little curious as what the definition of a syllable is. I've tried to explain it the best I can before. It's a hard word to define, and so I wasn't happy with my definition because I was just kind of doing the best I could because it's difficult to define. So I looked up some definitions, and it turns out it's just a difficult word to define, and it turns out I did just fine in my explanation or what I came up with as a definition. Basically, a syllable is a part of a word that contains a vowel sound. A syllable is a part of a word that contains a vowel sound. Every syllable must have a vowel in it or a vowel sound in it. So a word is a big chunk of sound. A syllable is a medium chunk of sound. So a word is made up of syllables, and a syllable is made up of phonemes. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound that there is, and that's those little tiny units of sound that we count at the beginning of each class. We count the phonemes. So phonemes are in syllables, syllables are in words. A syllable is a part of a word that contains a vowel or a vowel sound. All right, let's get back. Our next word is number 3. Wait, 4. How are you doing on the first 3 so far? Would you let me know in the chat, how are you doing on the first 3? Just a word to describe how you're doing, how you're feeling. One word works just fine. Let me know if I need to kind of slow down, go over anything. Okay. Excellent. You guys are brilliant. Okay, number 4. Okay. So number 4, this I is going to say I because one of the next 2 letters is another vowel. I gets to say its name. Any vowel says its name if there's another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. That's another one of those things that is difficult to teach or to learn, is what is the long sound and what is the short sound. You can know logically that if there is another vowel in the next one or two spots, that guy says it's long sound, but that doesn't mean that you know what the long sound is, right? Or what the short sound is. There's another layer of knowledge that must be acquired to be able to apply that whole reading rule. So long is the name. Short is the common sound that you learn when you're little. The teachers usually teach the short sounds first. They should anyway. So they would say that A says ah, E says eh. Those are the short sounds that you learn when you're short. Ah, eh, eh, ah, ah. Long sounds are their name. Okay? So, I can't remember if I even described this I as long or saying its name, but those two things are interchangeable. Long and name, those are the same thing. I think I have that up here. Yeah. Long is its name, short is its common sound. All right, back up. So back to where we were. This I is going to say I because there's a vowel in the next one or two spots. This I is going to say I for two reasons. The first reason is there's not a vowel in the next one or two spots. The second reason is it's in the middle syllable. You can tell that because there is a vowel before it that doesn't touch it and a vowel after it that doesn't touch it. And then this I says I because there is not a vowel in the next one or two spots. So our sounds are t, I, p, I, n, s, I, m. Pushing them together, one sound at a time. Tr, try, tripe. It's tempting to say trip, isn't it? Because you are familiar with that word and your brain wants to cling to it. It wants you to just say trip because it just wants success so badly. It's like, I know this one, it says trip, but that's why we do nonsense words, so that you can put all of that out of your mind and replace it with knowledge that you can rely on for any word, which is what these reading patterns are that you're learning. So this doesn't say trip, it says tripe because there's a vowel right there. So tripe, tripin, tripins, tripinse, tripinsim. Now when you say this word, is it tempting to pronounce that TR as a, no, not that, a CHR? Try not to do that. Try to pronounce this TR as it was intended with the TR. This is a very common, lazy, kind of sloppy way to pronounce the TR blend, as in tree or try. You kind of hear that CH in there. But in this class, let's try to articulate all of the sounds the way that they were intended. So that TR would say tripinsim. Okay, try your number 4 here. I'll be quiet while you work. Okay. This I says I because of the tap 2 rule. This I says I because of the tap 2 rule, and it's in the middle syllable. And this I says I for the tap 2 rule. That tap 2 rule, it's a handy little bugger. It will open up a whole world of words for you when you are comfortable with it. So blending those sounds together, we have pull, ply, plice, plice, plicin, plicinde, plicinde, plicindip, plicindip. Would you please put in the chat a Y or an N if you got plicindip without me? Good. Nice. Okay. All right. Don't worry, that was one of the harder ones. All right. Now I want you to do something else with this word. This might or might not be a trick question. What would this word say if it didn't have the N in it? Take a second. What would that say? So the tricky part was, and I don't really like asking trick questions. I probably shouldn't have done that. It's not really a trick question, it's just a challenging one. Now you might be tempted to think that this I now says I because there's a vowel in the next one or two spots. But it's important to remember that I in the middle says I regardless of how many consonants are after it. So this would say Plycidip. Plycidip, okay? All right, we have time for a extra practice one that I can do with you before I send you off on your own to read these. Do you have a request? Is there one of these that you would like for me to do with you? Let me know in the chat. Which one would you like? All right, we have a request for number 8. 2 requests for number 8. Okay. Number 8 it is. So here we have a digraph blend. Actually, I'm going to let you try this one on your own, and then I'll come back after and make sure that you pronounced it correctly. Okay, so this I says I because there are 2 consonants after it. This I says I because there's 2 consonants after it, but also because it's in the middle syllable. So it says I for 2 reasons. And this I also says I because of the tap 2 rule. So we have I, p, l, I, f, I, One at a time. Thir, thri, thrip, thripple, thriple, thripliff, thripliffe, thripliffim, thripliffim. That was a hard one for me. Thripliffim. My goodness, that was a doozy. No wonder you asked for number 8. All right, so on Monday is when I will see you guys again, and we have one more time to wrap up because that'll be the 31st to really solidify these I rules, and then on Wednesday we'll go into O, and then our practicum that you're invited to on Tuesdays and Thursdays starts on April 8th. So any questions about that transition for next week? Your ID will change, your meeting ID changes, but it's all in the modules for you. And you're welcome to go in there right now and look at the Monday, Wednesday class. Look at, they're a talkative bunch. You're gonna love them, except for on, starting next week, it's gonna be mics and cameras off during our class and then on during our practicum. All right, I'm super excited for that. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful weekend in the meantime. See you later. Bye, everybody.